Hello, welcome to my backyard. We're just working on my ISP today, and I now have a compound bow. It's cool. I like it a lot. I got it sort of as a Christmas present, uh, sort of. So yes, I've been shooting it back here. It's a lot of you probably don't know how a compound bow works. I'll get into that in a second. But there is my target over there. I don't know if you can see it from, yeah, okay, you can. That is actually the last round that I fired off. I really wish I had caught that on camera. That was just my test round, but it's a really, really good grouping. Yeah, in fact, we're gonna go over there and show you real fast. So, as you can tell, this is actually the tightest grouping I have ever pulled off. This is 5 arrows, and they're pretty much touching each other. You can see. They're not quite on the bullseye because I had to do a lot of adjusting with this sight. There's actually a sighting system on a compound bow, and it's really cool. I'll probably get into that when I'm actually shooting it. But so it's obviously a little bit, I'm still shooting a little left, so I'll have to adjust the sight for that. But this was really cool for me because this is like the tightest I've ever gotten them to group, and I really wish I had gotten on camera, like I said before. But hopefully I'll be able to replicate it, and we'll get it on camera or something similar. So yeah, now we'll go back over there and I'll actually shoot it. So as many of you are probably wondering, a compound bow is actually a lot like a normal bow, except it's, as you can tell, it's got more than one string. Well, it's one string, but it goes along these wheels. And what actually is different about it is that when you pull it back to a certain point, it's difficult, and then once you get to its full draw length, it gets much easier to pull and hold there. So you have a good chance to aim, and then you can release it. And how a normal bow works is you have to pull it back, and then when you're back there, you still have to be straining to hold that weight back and fire it. So it's a lot more difficult to fire. There's a nice shot of the bow. And so also what's different is that a compound bow has a sighting system, and as you can see here, you can kind of look through. The arrow goes in here. This is the arrow rest, and then this is your sight. It's got 3 pins that vary based on your distance, and then it's actually got a back sight that this peep sight that turns when you pull it back, and you put that next to your eye and you look through it to make sure that you're lining up that back sight with the front sight, and then when you're actually shooting, it makes it really accurate. Whereas a normal bow, you're just pulling it back, there's no sighting system, and you just have to release it, and it's instinctive. So this thing can actually be extremely accurate when it's sighted incorrectly. Mine's, like I showed before, still just a little bit off, and I'm not that great of an archer yet. So I mean, it's expected to not be perfect, but it's still really accurate for a person like me to be able to pull that off, what I showed you before. So yeah, let's do it. So requirements for firing the compound bow are a compound bow, a target with in a safe place. This is called a release. This is another thing that's very different about a compound bow, is that you actually almost use a trigger to actually release the arrow. And what you do is you hook onto this string loop here, and then when you're actually pulling it back, you pull it back, and then in order to actually fire the arrow, you pull this trigger, and it goes like that. And that I saw somewhere that actually makes the arrow a lot more accurate, because the string doesn't have to fly around, doesn't have to go around the person's fingers. It releases in a more straight fashion. But other requirements: arrows. These are carbon arrows. They're good for just target shooting. I put target tips on them. I had 6 up until yesterday, where one of the nocks, that's the part that clips onto the arrow, it broke, so I'll have to get some replacements. And then this came with my bow package. this is my Bear archery hat because this is a Bear brand bow. And so I pretty much wear it every time I'm shooting for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. So to actually shoot, I've got my arrows in the quiver. I pull one out, put it into the arrow rest, knock it on the string, and then we have it set in there. I'm going to take my release and clip it on. I'm going to position myself completely perpendicular to the target. Then I'm going to pull it back, look through the peep sight. Well, actually, I'll just pull it back first. Now I'm going to position it right on the corner of my mouth. I look through the peep sight at the front sight. I take a nice deep breath, make sure my left arm is relaxed, and then I try to hit the target. And that one hit dead center. As far as I can tell from here, it's a little hard to see the arrows, but now I'm going to shoot 5 more. Yeah, here we go. Alright, I'm going to shoot the remaining 4. Hopefully these will go a little bit faster. Arrow number 3. Okay, my 5th and final arrow. So far I've had a pretty good grouping, hopefully I can keep it up. It does get a little harder to aim as you get a little more tired, but hopefully that won't be a problem. Oh! Well, I'm not going to pretend that that didn't happen. My sister actually raised some concerns that because it's hard to see on the camera, it might appear like I was moving the arrows to the middle.
He was.
That's so not true. Take that back.
I'm just kidding. I'll vouch for him. The first 4 hit the middle. The next one
First 4 hit very close to the middle. The first 3 hit the middle square. Or 3 out of the first 4 hit the middle square. The last one was way off. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I was tired. I wasn't thinking. I was focusing on missing and not missing. You know, all that crazy stuff. That happens. You're gonna miss occasionally. But so yeah, this is my grouping with the compound bow. As you could probably, you probably couldn't tell, it shoots really fast and it's really cool, and it's probably one of my favorite things I've done for my ISP so far, plus it's my new toy. Not a toy, it's very serious, but it's still a lot of fun.